Johnson, a former winner here at Pocono, and again, the championship leader. 2.5-mile track, 3 very distinct turns, 43 cars, 500 miles. Glad you're along for the ride. The green flag in the air on TNT. Denny Hamlin leads lap number 1. They head down that long straightaway into that very fast first turn.
And it's no surprise that Denny Hamlin was able to get that lead in the tunnel corner. In talking to the crews yesterday, they said that 11 car was by far the fastest car through the tunnel corner here in June 5 weeks ago.
Had an amazing...
Fast at 1 and 2, isn't it?
I was going to say he's fast everywhere, by the looks of it. Really, when you come into the tunnel turn here, if you can be on the bottom, it's a little bit better position to be to overtake the guy. Because if you can be on the bottom and stay on the bottom when you get to turn 3, the inside is really where you want to be in 3.
The Busch brothers were side by side there. Kurt in the 2, Kyle in the 5. There's Hamlin, the race leader, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Jeff Burton. Kyle.
There was no brotherly love as they came off that tunnel corner. Kurt Busch in that 2 car dove, and it looked like he missed his brother by about 6 inches trying to take that spot away.
Kurt on the back bumper of Jeff Burton, and that 2 team of Kurt Busch really in a desperate situation if they want to make the chase, especially after falling out at New Hampshire last week. Hamlin stretches it out. Casey Kane in the 9. Jeff Gordon behind him in the 24. Kane around Kyle Busch, and here comes Gordon looking to the inside.
And once again, Kyle Busch seemed to have some trouble in that tunnel corner and loses a spot.
This is for second. Ryan Newman in the 12. Brian Vickers in the 25.
A lot of guys talking about the 25 in the garage area this morning, PP.
Yeah, I talked to Lance McGrew, the crew chief on that 25, and he said, we are going to win today. Get Brian Vickers his first victory.
Really? Marty?
And guys, they are so confident in this race car and the setup they have underneath it today. They said it's the same thing they ran here in June. I said, you know, a lot of teams learned something at Indianapolis. Did you put any of that on your race car? He said, nope. Do we have the car to beat here in June except for that 11 car? If we can just catch him, that's the only car I'm really worried about. But I think we have a car, same thing he told you, VP, that can win this race.
Pretty even there. Ryan Newman and Vickers in the tunnel turn 2. How's Ryan's car looking there, Dave?
Their assessment before the race, Wally, was not good. Talked to crew chief Matt Borland and said, you know, I don't know what we have. We really could have used the Saturday practice, which got rained out. We'll see what happens at the beginning. So far, Newman reporting a little bit tight all the way around the racetrack, but they really weren't sure until they got started what they would have.
Yeah, it really looked tight there in turn 3 that time. Vickers got a pretty good run on there. It looks like he's tight right there. I'll tell you, the 12 car is going very good down the straightaway. So because even though he was tight off of 3, he was able to stay ahead of Vickers. But I don't think he's going to be able to do it here.
Vickers around on the inside.
Now he's just got 1 car to catch. But a lot of guys had a lot of trouble catching that car back 5 weeks ago, talking about Denny Hamlin in the 11.
And it wasn't a situation where he was out front all day either. Because of the adversity he had to fight throughout the race, he was able to race through the pack and pass everybody sometimes 2 or 3 times.
That's right. When he blew the left rear tire, he did some damage to the battery boxes. They had to come in and repair all that stuff, change batteries. So he did have to start at the rear of the field a couple times, but still came back to win.
Hamlin leads, Vickers is second, Ryan Newman runs third. Newman comes in off the disappointing finish at New Hampshire last week, a race in which he ran into Tony Stewart and then was hit on the ensuing caution. Here's Ryan's view of his run-in with Stewart last Sunday.
Two stubborn drivers, I think. Tony and I got together. I had fresh tires. He didn't. He had a really good fast race car, but unfortunately, my 8 tires were better than his 4. And, you know, I talked to him today. We're good with everything. He knows he was racing me hard, and I know I was racing him hard to get back to be only 1 lap down, and that was a difficult situation for us, especially where we're at in points. So we're cool. He invited me to go fishing. We'll be fine.
I'd make sure there's 2 life jackets on that boat.
So, might be a bait problem, is what you're saying, huh?
An invitation, all right.
Ryan Newman still fishing for his first win of the season, and here's the incident he was talking about last Sunday at New Hampshire. Ryan on the inside of Tony Stewart. Ryan really drove it in there hard.
And also, Tony didn't give him any room. I mean, they both went in there tight, and Tony held him down. And normally, you get a guy down there on the bottom. If you think he's going to slide up, you'll drive up the racetrack a little bit. But neither one of them gave, and that's what happened.
Newman currently runs third. Tony Stewart is 11th. With 6 laps in the books here in Pocono. On board with Jeff Burton. Well, it's the story of the weekend. 6 weeks ago, Denny Hamlin started on the pole and won. Today, he started on the pole, and he's leading again. Still under green here at Pocono. 9 laps are complete. Here's a look at our AutoZone in the zone drivers for this season. Kyle Busch with the 3 straight top 3 finishes. 3 straight top 10s for Kevin Harvick, who won the Busch race yesterday in Martinsville. And Jeff Burton continues to have a superb season driving for Richard Childress, our AutoZone in the zone drivers.
Wow. See ya.
4-second lead for Denny Hamlin over Brian Vickers, Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, and Kurt Busch. Jeff Gordon on the move into 5th around Burton.
Casey Kane's going to go with him.
More from Dave Burns.
Talked to Jeff right before driver's introduction, asked him how his car was, and he told me pretty good. Felt like they had a car that, even though they didn't get the practice yesterday, felt good enough in Friday's practice. But he said, wait and see. So I guess this is good, Marty.
Well, Dave, at the start of the race, Casey Kane kind of fell back. He said he was feeling out his race car. They were concerned about the weather. He said he loved the car on Friday when it was very hot and slick out there. Today, it's a little cooler. They just wanted to feel it out. Car not turning as well as Casey would like. Alan?
When I talked with Jeff Burton before the race, he thought that their car would be decent today, but said, how do you know? With the lack of practice and the change to the left side tire, this first run of the race is really going to be a lot about feeling out what you've got and beginning to make adjustments on it for the rest of the day. You just saw Burton slip back a couple of spots. He started in 6th position, moved up initially. Now he's back to 7th spot.
And you talked about the competition caution at lap 20. That's because of the new left side tire that Goodyear brought here. They didn't get any practice on it in race conditions, so NASCAR said we need to look at this thing in about 20 laps.
Want to drop back to about the 38th position and take a look at 19-year-old Stephen Light. He's from Asheville, North Carolina, just 10 Busch Series starts, but today making his debut in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
My name's Stephen Light. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. I started racing go-karts and quarter midgets when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And then when I was 12, I started racing late models. And then that kind of just led to here. I always looked up to Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was always the one. He was my favorite driver growing up. Sooner or later, I wouldn't be not open to the fact of running both full-time Busch and Cup. Sooner or later, I'd like to do that. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. I think it'll be nerve-wracking more than anything, getting through the first 5 or 10 laps of being in a whole field of cars like that.
Well, Doug Gates told me this morning that the plan was fairly simple for the young man. Just go out there, complete as many laps as you can, try to finish on the lead lap, but more importantly, earn the respect of the other drivers. And you can tell from listening to that he's a very composed 19-year-old young man.
There's Jimmy Johnson on the move on the outside of Tony Stewart for the 9th position. Now, Steve is going to try and make the Brickyard 400 in 2 weeks. He tested there, and NASCAR has approved him to compete in that race, but they did suggest he come here and get some laps. But him going to that Indianapolis test is one of the greatest stories you'll ever hear, BP.
Well, the Yates operation took him to Chicago just to watch the race, listen on the radio, and get an idea of what's going on. And then they decided, well, let's go to Indy and test. from Chicago. He gets down there, he has no clothes. He's at Kmart at 2 o'clock in the morning buying 4 or 5 pairs of trousers, shirts, shoes, everything. He bought a pair of Shaq tennis shoes for 29 bucks. He was so proud of that. But he goes to Indy with no clothes, no nothing.
He said he had his wallet, his car keys, and his cell phone, and that was it. And they decided, well, we're going to put you in Elliott Sadler's backup car at the Brickyard. Come on, you're coming with us. So no luggage, but he got to make the trip. Now he's racing in his first race, and he's made it through the first 13 laps. So I'm sure he's just excited to be here.
Jeff Gordon just took over the 4th spot from Ryan Newman.
But this guy leads by about 5.5 seconds. Denny Hamlin. Competition caution coming up in about 5 laps. We'll take a break, come back from that. Denny Hamlin out front at Pocono. A rising star of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. But can he make the chase?